16 minutes to 9, and it is always brilliant when I can bring you news of humanitarian projects involving the faiths of Leicester working together. One Roof Leicester is one such organisation. It's deeply concerned about the number of people who will be sleeping rough in the cold months in the city, and they want to provide emergency accommodation for 3 months for those homeless people who are ineligible for benefits, banned from their homeless housing and or without any other support network. Salma Ravat is the One Roof Leicester coordinator, and I'm thrilled to bits because she's sitting in front of me now. Salma, good morning.
Morning.
Lovely of you to come in. But this is actually quite a big subject, isn't it? And I'm not quite sure where to start. So let's start with how many faiths are involved. I call it, a multi-faith organisation. How many faiths have you got?
At the moment, it's 2 faiths. So we've got, it's Christians, but different denominations. So you've got, obviously, the Anglican, let me get that out of my mouth properly. We've got United Reformed Church. So there's different sort of Christian churches that are involved. We've got the Muslim organisations coming on board. But what's happening at the same time, we're having lots of talks with people from within the Sikh community and the Hindu community. I'm hoping to go down and see Leicester Council of Faiths to try and encourage other faiths to come on board. But those sort of wheels are already in motion, so hopefully they'll be coming on board and we'll be doing more work across different faiths.
And we were just chatting while that record was on, and you were telling me that Roof Leicester One Roof Leicester, yeah. Thank you, has been it's been in existence for a year.
Yes, we're a very new organisation.
Aren't you?
Yes, and we've been spending the first year really developing the project and identifying what is actually needed, rather than just starting work blindly. We've set up our website. That was sort of like the main goal of the first year, was to actually have a service directory of all the organisations that can help you if you are homeless or if you're a refugee, asylum seeker. Sorry, I've got a frog in my throat.
I know, it's horrid, isn't it? No, clear your throat, Salma. You must be comfortable.
So that's all set up. That's live now. And so now it's sort of like continuing with our development plan and looking at what's next. So obviously the first thing that we're doing is addressing the needs of rough sleepers this winter, and then going on to sort of look at long-term housing projects as well.
So you see it very much as a long-term project that you will be able to carry on for, well, hopefully years.
Yes.
And is the ultimate aim to have no rough sleepers in the city?
Oh yes, definitely. I mean, it'd be lovely to get to that stage, and I don't think we're really very far off. Leicester, not just One Roof Leicester, but
there's a glass of water coming, chicken.
Oh, great.
I promise
you.
you, it's on its way.
One Roof Leicester. We're working obviously with lots of different agencies, including Leicester City Council and other charities that work with homeless people, and it's very much about working together. So we reduce that number. And hopefully, like we said, get it down to 0. And like I said, we're not too far off that number at the moment.
Fantastic. Tony's arrived with a welcome glass of water for Salma. So while she... This is horrid. It's early morning throat. That's what it is, Salma. We all get it. Just tell me, because you talk about... We've talked about the multi-faiths, which is a very exciting aspect of One Roof Leicester. But I think the biggest thing for me is that you were telling me there are more than 70 organisations that look after the needs of homeless people. Why do we have to have so many? Why can't we just have one? Because there's only one problem.
Yeah, I think what it is you've got 70 different organisations offering different services. So within those 70, you've got accommodation providers, you've got people who provide advice, you've got services that provide support. But each one has a little niche, really. So it's not that everyone provides the same service. So if you look at accommodation, you will have groups that are providing support for single homeless people. Others are doing families. You've got some who do victims of domestic violence, refugee asylum seeker groups, young mums with a baby. So each one has their own little area of expertise, and that ensures then that when that person goes into that accommodation, they get the specialist service and support and advice that they need, rather than trying to put everybody in one sort of centre and finding actually that you can't meet the needs of anyone. And what's nice is we've been sort of moving away from sort of like the big hostels as well, with the new strategy on homelessness that Leicester City Council published last year. It's a move away from big sort of accommodation, big hostel accommodation, and more into sort of independent units. So you're getting away from that sort of isolation and about, trying to move people into more homely environments, really.
And so they're more supported as well. Yes. I hate to mention money, but this sort of organisation, this sort of coordination does cost money, doesn't it?
It does,
so
yes.
I would imagine fundraising is pretty high on your list of priorities as well.
Yeah, at the moment we've got an appeal. We are trying to raise £25,000 to provide accommodation over the winter months for anybody who's rough sleeping, and what we will do is again, for each person that comes along that's on the street, we will actually have a case panel. We'll look at the needs of that client and what is going to be the most appropriate accommodation for them, and then we will make sure that they are accommodated, because we don't want to see anybody sleeping rough. I mean, we've been really fortunate in that we've not had a very harsh winter yet. It's been very mild. We've had the odd day where it's frosty, but I've just come out of a nice cosy warm bed to get here, and I'm sure you have.
Absolutely.
Central heating, etc.
Yeah.
But we do have guys and ladies who are on the streets who are sleeping rough, and we want to try and get everybody in. It's unfortunate because that just perpetuates their health problems, the mental health problems, their addictions. And so by bringing them in, we want to make sure not only are they housed, but we can actually give them the support and assistance that they need to actually move on, and hopefully move on into permanent accommodation.
It's interesting. Before I started doing earlies on Sundays, I was one of the city centre street pastors. So we would be out into the early hours of the morning, and more often than not, there would be, one or two homeless people that we would always make a point of talking to. And when you talk to somebody who is living their life on the streets, you realise actually how close we are from our centrally heated houses and our lovely warm beds. It's only a couple of steps away from being in their situation. It could honestly happen to any one of us, couldn't it?
I mean, they say that you're usually two wage packets away from homelessness.
Wow, really?
It's if you think about it really logically, think about if you've got a mortgage or if you're paying rent, that if you lost your job, how long would you be able to afford to carry on living in that accommodation? And for some people, they're on the streets not because they've lost their job. Sometimes it's mental health problems, it's family breakdown. So there are lots of reasons people become homeless. But any of those triggers could happen to any of us at any time. And I think that's what sometimes we live in a very comfortable life, not expecting anything like that to happen. And when it does, most of us will cope with it and we will do fine. And we'll have a support network around us that will help us to maintain.
Certainly in the short term, but I would imagine if those problems continued into the long term, that's when it becomes.
And especially if that, we've got people that we work with who have either lost somebody that they've loved, and that's triggered a mental health issue really because they've not been able to cope. So it starts usually with depression. And as that gets worse, because it's not recognised straight away or not treated straight away, that's when they start losing, they lose their job, and it just spirals out of control. And these people end up on the street. And that's why we need to step in as soon as possible, because the sooner you can get somebody once they're out on the street, the quicker you can actually bring in the support and hopefully, move them on in life again, and I think that's why with One Roof, we're trying to work with different agencies, and different faiths, so that together we can help these people who are so desperate at this time of year.
Fantastic. Is there anything the rest of us can do? Because it's all right for me sitting here and going, that's a great job, Salma, you're doing brilliantly. Is there anything the rest of us can do to help you?
Obviously, the first thing at the moment is that, we are desperate for funds to be able to do this. So if people go onto our website, which is www.oneroof.org.
And is that one O-N-E or a figure one?
Oh, no, O-N-E.
O-N-E Roof.
O-N-E Roof. .org.uk, sorry.
So it's my fault, yeah.
Then on there, it actually tells you how you can donate. There's different ways that you can donate, and that's what we really, really need at the moment. I mean, if there's anybody out there who's got accommodation, if you're a property developer, I mean, we have got one property developer on board that we're talking with at the moment to see if we can maybe have a house with them that we could be using to accommodate some of the guys with very low or no support needs. But if anybody out there has got anything that they could offer to us, again, all the contact details are on our website, so they can, give me, drop me an email, give me a call, and we can have a chat with them. But in terms of like for people out there, it's just get on the website, see what you can do to help, and just get the word out there. If you're a community group and you can do a collection for us, a fundraising event for us, that would be fantastic as well.
And keep us in touch with everything that's going on. You, as you say, you've been in existence for a year and done some good work already. So what you can achieve in the future, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, yes.
It'd be great to have a zero homeless population in Leicester. It'd be amazing.
I think Leicester's really leading the way in getting numbers down. We used to be, about 3 years ago, we used to have the highest number of rough sleepers outside of London. We are now one of the cities with the lowest numbers of rough sleepers. We are leading the way. We don't shout about it enough, if you ask me. We need to be blowing our own trumpet. I mean, compared to even some of our neighbouring counties, we're doing an amazing job, and long may it continue. But I think this joint up working, in collaboration with different organisations and faiths, I think we will get to hopefully a point where there is no one out on the streets.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Your website again, Salma, www.oneroof.org.uk. You're fantastic. Thank you. Lovely to meet you.
Thank you.
And genuinely keep in touch.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.